I'm a fan of fantasy, so I listen to Easy and Alan on their Just a Fantasy Fan podcast. During the show, you can live chat with Easy and Alan at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com. Rumour has it, Lenny only swings one way, with Launch Angle. Now here's Easy and Chris Allen.
That's right, I'm Easy, a.k.a. me. And over there's Mr. Chris Allen, a.k.a. my cohort in fantasy crime. What do you think of that, Chris? So you want to be my cohort tonight?
I like that. That's not a bad nickname. I'll take it.
Not a bad name?
Yeah.
Easy's cohort?
I'll take it. Yeah.
I'll take it. There you go. There you go. Andrea, do we have sound out there? I always like because Lenny does that. He'll yell, "Do we have sound? Do we have sound?" I'm like, well, nobody knows if they don't hear you.
Right.
So, it makes it crazy. But welcome to another Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. Lenny Melnick, FantasySports.com, the Legend Sports Network. This is a Fantasy Fan Sportscast. And yeah, Zaz told you all that, but we took off last week, kind of. We took off Wednesday, did the show on Tuesday.
Right.
By far our most successful show, Chris. I don't know why. I don't know why. I shaved.
I think that's the only reason why it was successful. Okay. That's the only reason why.
There you go. I shaved. Thanks, everybody. Because we are on YouTube.
We are.
But if you go to fantasyfan.com, I'm getting hollered at. I don't pub that enough. Because I'm just so excited that it's me and you. As long as you know where to go.
Yeah.
But I don't tell people out there. No, my argument is, who am I telling? Because if you don't know where we're at, it doesn't matter. I mean,
at this point,
it's too late now. That's
it's been a year.
Right.
I mean, people know where we're at.
It's been we're well into a year. We're like a year and.
Well, I'm saying with the fantasy sports, with the Legend Sports Network, yeah.
So I'm just saying, you know what? If you don't know by now that you can just go to fantasyfan.com and that takes you right to our page at Lenny's site with the chat room. You can click the little video thing, which if I click it right now, which I could actually hold on, I'm gonna click. I think you'll hear us, but I think I can mute a year. We're like, there we go. I'm muted, so I can watch me on the little screen there. That's kind of cool. I now can see myself. Are you going to our page or do you go to Lenny's main page? I know you're in
Lenny's main page.
Okay, so I
can hop in the chat and all that. And talk to everybody.
Now time out. Now I'm going to talk to you like you're one of our great depth of listeners. If you go to fantasyfan.com, that will bring you to our website at Lenny's. What's cool about that website is that website has the chat room and the video beside each other. So it's actually pretty cool because you can stream and watch a chat room at the same time.
Ah, okay.
So I'm just saying, no, I don't think you need to do that because actually, if you're like me, you start streaming too many things, and the next thing you know, your computer,
your camera dies out like midway through an interview.
Right. Okay, do I look better? I know I shaved last week. It's hard to
right.
This week I went but I did some research. Chris, I know you think I'm against research, but I did some research, and I
don't think you're against it. I would say, but it's your preferred tool to just shoot from the hip.
Oh, I like that. I'm definitely a hipster. I'm a hipster, Chris. Right.
I know.
I'm that gunfighter. I don't need sights on the gun.
No, you just need the gun.
Sights on the gun are for rookies.
I know. You just need the gun and some bullets. That's all you need.
I'm one of those. Pow, 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 pow,
Yeah, you're just fanning the gun. And you're just firing off takes left and right.
Tell me fanning the gun is a real thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. Isn't that the motion that they would do? It calls fanning the gun.
Right. I think that's like the opposite of making it. This is making it rain.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Fanning the gun.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Make it rain.
Yeah.
Fan the gun.
Fan the gun.
Chris, you've educated me tonight.
That's what I do. I try.
Yes, I am a gun fanner. Meaning I just pull it out of my holster. And if you're on the other side of my lead, things happen.
Yes.
Got it. So that being said, I did a little research and found that the camera I have might have issues with the OBS studio we run.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I thought it was my computer, but I kept doing things. I ran on another computer. So I had to buy another camera, 1080p. So
1080. Ooh.
None of that 720p.
Right.
I'm 1080p.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like European, but 1080p.
1080p.
1080p. So there we go. So last night, round table, we didn't have issues.
How late did you go though?
2 hours. I even told when we started. I told my I don't have a co-host, but the same guy comes on every week, so I've kind of made him my I fanned him a little bit. I made it rain, said, "Doug, you're in charge of the clock, brother. Don't let me go over." So
2 hours.
We did 2 hours.
All right.
That was it.
That's pretty impressive for you guys.
Unfortunately, he started a topic with 10 minutes, and I had to cut him off because we struggle at no 10-minute topics on the round.
Gotcha.
So that's it. Hopefully this new camera. I don't know if anyone notices the people on YouTube. If you're out there watching us, which it actually says we got 3 viewers, so someone's watching.
Look at that.
Yeah. Right. Now, last week we peaked big time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I shaved.
That's the only reason why.
Only reason. No. Wesley Martin came on last week, and we pubbed the show a little bit for my local community, and a lot of people came out.
Very happy to see everybody come out.
Our YouTube views are low compared to just our listeners. But just YouTube alone, we had over 80 views. So that was by far, by far our biggest thing. And I think a lot of that had to do with the local people around here, wanting to, check out Wesley and what's going on. So, Andrea, you can't see me. I'm invisible. I don't know what Andrea's saying. I don't see Andrea, but I did see her in the chat room. Andrea gets mad if I ignore her in the chat room.
Right.
But again, I'm fanning it. I am fanning it.
Fanning the gun.
You're fanning the trigger. No, that's not the trigger. What's the little
hammer?
You're a gangster, right? The hammer, right? I'm fanning the hammer, and I'm missing stuff. Oh, Puig walk-off home run. I had it on the back. Normally, I do see the fireworks going off. Andrea, you are not invisible. I see you in the chat room. I don't know. Can you see someone in the chat room?
But you see their name. Right.
So, yes, the Reds, Cubs. I was watching. Cubs won last night. Reds win tonight. Thank you, Doug, for Andrea says she's watching us, though. So, Andrea, I'm trying to look good tonight. I didn't shave. And this new camera has me a little on the red side. I might have
you might need to play with the camera settings a little bit.
Right. Hey. But I don't know if people noticed tonight, you're green screening without the effects of green screening.
We're halfway there. All right, baby steps.
Right.
Baby steps.
You have the hard part. The hard part. We did log on and try to do a quick tutorial, and we didn't quite.
I'm trying to learn.
So, next week Chris will be doing his show from somewhere.
Don't know where yet.
Right. Don't know where. Lot of topics, to get to. And then obviously our main topic of the night, I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for.
Okay.
So, because tonight we are going to be talking about the perfect league settings.
Okay.
I mean, about time. Meaning, if you want a good league, this is a time to start looking into that stuff. We're going to talk. We're going to be talking. You know what? If you want to set up that perfect league, because someone has already come to me this week and said, "Hey, we want to get this league started, but we want to try to, what would be the perfect settings?" And we're not, so we'll get into that. What are they? And my argument is, I'm interested in the perfect settings for the normal fan. There's weird settings, there's things like that, and maybe you can incorporate them into your league if you have those kind of players. But tonight we're going to talk about the perfect league. Meaning, you know what? Meaning these are the rules.
The perfect league. Okay. All right.
Perfect league. You know, I mean, we're going to be fanning that league stuff. That's what we do here. That's how we roll.
That is how we roll.
We will save plenty of time for that.
Okay.
So now, again, had a busy week. People out there in my chat room know I had some family and hospital issues and blah, blah. So, I don't know. I don't even think I told you, but my father-in-law been in the hospital for a few weeks.
Yeah, we talked about that. Mm-hmm.
And he came home Tuesday night.
That's good.
Finally. So I now have time, unfortunately the last couple of weeks, spare time I've spent at hospitals. So I haven't done a whole lot of research, but I do have a few things we need to talk about. A few that we probably missed because of last week. I don't know if you saw. I know we brought it up 2 shows ago about it was out there that the Bengals swindled the Pittsburgh Steelers into drafting somebody because they had convinced them they were going to draft them and they swindled them. I don't know. Did you notice on Twitter that it came out that now, again, it wasn't an official person, but it was somebody who,
right,
an official source said that that's exactly what happened, that the Bengals set that thing up, which I think is cool, but I don't like that it got out there. I don't think you want to show your hand like that.
It could be a couple of things. It could be that's what actually happened, or it could just be the team's posturing to make themselves look better. So I don't know what to believe at this point.
The Bengals always could use that look better thing.
Well, sure.
But the Bengals technically didn't really do anything. That's the thing. They convinced Pittsburgh to do something, supposedly.
Yeah. So you could claim that, but at the same time, unless they capitalized on it and just got this really superior asset out of the pick that they got, which they didn't really. I mean, not to say their draft was poor. I mean, I think they addressed the needs, and we talked about that.
Point. Right.
Yeah.
I think if it happened, I think in the war room, you're excited. You're excited you made something happen. It may not make a difference, but the fact that you went, man, we made that happen. We made them trade up. I get it. You're rolling your eyes, and I get it. I'm kind of that way too. It's a small thing, but
at that level, it could be a big thing.
Well, right. I think within your division, that makes it a big thing too.
I agree with that. Yeah.
These two teams don't like each other much anyway. So I think it's cool that they leaked a little bit. I was kind of excited. I just thought it was funny. Me and you talked about it because that's what it sure seemed like happened. And then they came out, and said it. So
that's what it felt like at the time. But I'm glad. I mean, so that's interesting.
Right. Good job. Good job, Bengals.
Yeah.
Go that route. We're going to just say, you know what? Good job, Bengals. So, if it worked, it worked. Hold on. I'm gonna click. Okay. See, that pops up.
See, I like that. Yeah.
Right. But it does take our names off, but that's okay for a minute.
That's okay. They know who we are.
Right. Right. I'm the fanner.
That's right. That's right.
The other thing we didn't get to talk about last week is that there's no more hockey in Ohio. The Blue Jackets, a good series. They were in all the games. They just obviously couldn't put the little black puck
where it needed to go.
Into the little net.
Yeah. You can't win them all.
Yeah, you can't.
Happy to see they got as far as they did.
I know. And now, are you one of those now? Do you root for the Bruins?
No.
No, me neither. Right. Unfortunately, I'm done. I don't root for anybody. But
Boston, they I mean, that whole New England area, they get all the championships. Why do we need to be rooting for Boston?
But usually, I quickly start rooting for whoever beats my team because, because I want to say, okay, yeah, we lost, but they won the Stanley Cup. We're like, Stanley Cup 0.2. I mean, we're at, Stanley Cup 1.A. We'd have won it if we'd have beat them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I realize that's asinine and incorrect, but it's still, it's the way I go. That's from the hip.
No, that's a good consolation. I don't hate that.
Now, with that being said, right now I'm not doing that. I'm just mad. I don't like Boston. I'm struggling. So, but I'm not rooting for anybody. That's kind of my savior right now.
So you're out.
I guess I have not been watching. I can't say any. Maybe a little hockey was on one of my televisions.
I'll say you have 6 televisions. You mean to tell me that I know there's hockey. It's not that much going on in sports right now anyway.
Right. Right. Oh, I got 100 things. There's all kinds of stuff. But all right. So that's it. We've lost no more hockey in Ohio. And I was so excited that we would get a Stanley Cup in this, because I think, there's no Super Bowl trophies in Ohio.
No,
we have some World Series trophies.
that is true.
We now have one NBA. What's it called? What's the NBA championship? Does that trophy have a name?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Trophy, I don't even know if it has a name. I just know if I see it.
It's just like the NBA World Title.
Super Bowl trophy.
Right.
The World Series trophy. And again, I don't know if it has a name either, but I know what it looks like. I know that's the World Series trophy.
Right.
So the state of Ohio has multiple World Series, thanks to the Reds. Someone out there might tell me. I'm pretty sure Cleveland won championships back in the 60s, maybe the 50s. As far as World Series, but I can't answer that 100%. But the Reds have the Reds, I think, have 6, something like that. But obviously, we have no Stanley Cups, and we have no Super Bowl rings in this state. But and Cleveland. I mean, we at least been there twice. Cleveland's argument, Cleveland fans, you know how they are. But we have championships before there was a Super Bowl. Yeah, whatever.
If it's before the merger, we don't care.
It's like having a pizza before there was pepperoni.
Right.
No one cares.
If it was before the merger, we don't care.
Right.
We don't care.
Now, if it was the Bengals, we might use that. But if it's Cleveland, we're not.
We can't use that though.
We're not letting that in. Right.
I mean, our only claim to fame is the fact. I mean, we've got Super Bowl trophies in Ohio. I mean, we do technically.
Well,
but they're just all in Canton.
Okay. Oh, Chris. All right. They're saying 1928 and maybe 1940 were Indians won World Series. So definitely we do. And I'm almost convinced. I know the Indians have won at least one or two. The Reds have won multiple. But again, we didn't have no Super Bowls. But we're working on it. We're working on Super Bowls.
We'll get there.
Stanley Cup. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen. But championships are hard. And unfortunately, a city like Boston that keeps getting them, it does. When we have a podcast by Cam on this network that's called, and he's from Boston, and Trophy Town. His podcast is called Trophy Town. And, I listen to it and I hate it the whole time. I mean, I love Cam. I love what he says, but who cares about all those trophies? Right. And Cincinnati's known for its chili. And I hate Cincinnati style chili. So I'm out right.
You don't like Skyline?
Okay.
Oh man, that was I lived on that during college because I went to UC.
All right. My argument is, if I'm with people and that's where they stop, I'll eat. But I've never gotten in a car maybe since the first time or two I went there and said going to Skyline, or what's the other one? We have two. I know people argue which one.
Gold Star.
Yeah, Gold Star.
Yeah.
But someone said, isn't there another name of another one that's actually down in Cincinnati somewhere? I thought around the college that was originally the actual one, and that Gold Star and Skyline actually were knockoffs of this other guy. Because I think this other place.
Oh yeah.
I think he was even on like the dine-ins, drivers.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I forget the name of it though.
Because it's a small hole in the wall place that was one of the original liquid beans.
And I thought that it was like Skyline. I thought kind of took the recipe from that, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines.
When Andrea is asking, nutmeg is a secret recipe. I think that's in all of them down here in Cincinnati. That's like the little. I've heard rumors nutmeg. I've heard one of them. Their rumor is they use coffee.
Chocolate.
Yeah,
I think Skyline does a bit of chocolate in theirs. Something along those lines.
I'm just saying, I will eat it, but I don't go out of my way, and I haven't in a long time to.
Oh man, every college party back when I was down there, almost every college party, that was one of the things that you would do after you got done partying.
I love spaghetti. I mean, I'm a big Italian food guy, but I cannot do chili on it. I cannot do chili on top of my spaghetti.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. If you generally like Italian foods, this is probably not. That's like saying if you like Mexican food, you like Taco Bell. I mean, it's just that doesn't work.
Right. Skyline and who? It's Andrea's asking it. Skyline
and Gold Star.
And Gold Star. Those are both Cincinnati franchise type chili places. So, and around here in the Dayton area, they're all over the place. But
yeah,
I'm just saying it's not one of my things. Bob's Big Boy, which up here we call Frisch's. I know that's a franchise all around, but yes, I same thing. Bob's, and actually it is the Big Boy sandwich.
Right.
I do crave once in a while. Every once in a while, I'm like, man, I haven't had a Big Boy in a year. I need to have a,
just never found it appealing. Just never for me.
It's not a matter of an appealing. It's just, I'm not a tartar sauce guy. And unfortunately, who knows Frisch's or Big Bob, that their special sauce is tartar sauce. But I can do it once in a while. Like every few years, I'll go, all right, there's a flavor. And I'm the same with a Big Mac. I don't do Big Macs either.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like once every 5 years, my wife would be like me, go, what do you do? What'd you bring home? I said, I just had this craving for a Big Mac. I don't even like them. And I get like halfway through it and go, I won't eat another one for 5 more years. So,
it's not all that great. That's the Thousand Island dressing or something like that.
That's Thousand Island dressing, and Big Boy uses tartar sauce instead. That's woohoo! 2 big secret recipes. They're taking something that's designed for something else and putting on their sandwich and calling it a secret recipe. All right, so again, we always get right to the nitty gritty. I like it
every time.
This is PGA Tour Week. Another major. Is this a big deal? If Andrea hates Tiger, sorry, but would this be a big deal for Tiger to win back-to-back majors?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I actually agree. And you know me, I always, we put him already on our number 2 greatest comebacks of all time.
Yes.
Now, if he wins 2 or 3 majors here quickly, we might have to go back and measure that,
then that changes the entire narrative, because that puts him like he'll be 1 away from the big record.
Yeah,
from Jack's record.
Pretty big deal. So, I'm just saying, this would be a pretty big day, or a pretty big week if Tiger could win back to back. Now, from what I understand, pretty big difference in courses from the Masters. I mean,
right.
So, it's not, people like to do it. It's not just as easy as saying, hey, he just won, he should win this one. No, I mean, these courses change and people don't know that, you have to change your game. A lot of things,
but he has played there before, so he has at least some familiarity with the course. So that's why, at least when coming into I think the next at least 2 to 3 major tournaments to finish out this year, like Tiger, he's played at those before and he's won them before as well. So it's like he's coming in as one of the favorites for this. So I mean, that's really big. Right.
I agree. Yeah. And Andrea's saying, okay, she tells me to stop lying that I keep saying she hates Tiger only because that's fun to say. But, she actually loves him, but, the adversity and some of his decisions. But
like
I said yesterday in the roundtable, top athletes seem to come, the word asshole, you hear a lot with top athletes. And again, those are kind of some of the things when we talk to Wesley, we're, as just fans of the sport, we think we know a lot.
Right.
But what we don't understand is how hard they work and how mentally concentrating on yourself you have to be.
Absolutely.
I mean, that attitude comes with it. Now, some players have a better ability of rolling it off or turning it on and off.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, Tiger does have an attitude.
You have to be, I mean, depending on what sport that you play, but I would say almost any professional athlete has to be at least a sociopath on some level, because of the things that you have to do, the way that you're able to just turn off any outside noise, any the criticism from any sports analyst like the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, or criticism from the fans, people blowing up your Twitter mention like every single day, every single minute. I mean, like your family, your friends, I mean, all that stuff, so you can focus on the thing that you do. So there has to be some they're wired differently for you to be able to do that.
Which is back to my point on that, calling these kind of people, I get it, arrogant or a-holes or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I ignore that. Meaning I'm a believer in that. Some of that attitude is required to get where they got,
Right.
And when you think of the best or the GOATs, a lot of them have that. you know. But I'm excited. I'm watching Tiger this week. Obviously, I'll be paying attention and paying attention and again, I don't watch a lot of golf. I will watch a lot of Sundays, or at least put them on.
Yeah.
But the majors, I pretty much start on Thursday. And the good thing is he's like one of the early tee offs. I think he tees off at 8:30 or 8:45.
Yeah, he's probably one of the early groups to go out.
Yeah. So I'll get to work and turn the TV on. Now Lenny comes on at 9. I'll be in the chat room. I'll be watching Lenny, but I will have the TV on in the background. PGA. So the last thing before we get to our major topic of the night, I don't want to kill the whole show. I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for our major. We really didn't talk much about the AAF folding.
That is a mess.
It was fine. But now why I bring it back up is the XFL got a pretty big TV deal with 2 big networks. The XFL is also coming at this more as a competitor or a complementary product, not a farm system product. Good, bad? Do we need another football league? What's your opinion now? I think it's what? I think they got ESPN, Fox, and ABC is also part of ESPN. So I don't know.
Right.
I know they have 3 major networks with the XFL, and the AAF had some random stuff going on. What's your opinion? Do we need it? Does it even matter?
No, I don't think we don't need that at this point. If anything, what the AAF was trying to do in creating some sort of farm system for some of the players that were either on the cusp, couldn't really do it, too old to be able to put up the same type of play style as what the NFL required. That's what the league, I think that's what we really needed. We needed some of those players that just couldn't quite make it, the college players that we really wanted to see, but just couldn't quite make that jump to the pros. That's what the AAF should have been, and I think that's what we needed. But the XFL, like something to compete with the Shield, it's just never going to work. I mean, we have we've come to be adjusted to the schedule of the NFL season, September to February. Like that's what we've come to expect. Right. So trying to shoehorn in this other product, unless they can find better talent, change the product somehow that it becomes a bit more digestible and more entertaining to us, sure, but I don't know what else they could do in order to make it, I guess, even compete with what the NFL has become.
I agree. I mean, I guess you pretty much did it dead on. I just don't even think we need it. I mean, no. But the argument is, if I'm going to defend it anyway, even though I agree with you 100%, the defense to me is, I think though, how do I want to say it? There's so many more athletic people now that are capable of playing professional football. Maybe not at the standards of the NFL, but still at a quality where a lot of fans wouldn't or couldn't tell a difference. Yeah. So if I have a positive about it, would be I like that those people have an opportunity to play somewhere else, or that there is, again, it is amazing how many NFL players in the middle of the season, especially running backs, get picked up off the couch. They don't get picked up off an XFL team or something like that. But you know what I'm saying? If anything, that's the only thing I have. It's another place for people who don't quite make it or think they can, or, at least dedicated 12, 15 years of their life to the sport and at least have an opportunity to play. So, that's just kind of my only, if that's a positive, that's kind of the only thing I have is, if anything for the athletes, but as a viewer, a fan of football, I don't need it, I guess.
No, we need to get a break. I mean, after all of the storylines and all of the drama, all of the games that we're subjected to over the 17-week season, plus the playoffs, plus the Super Bowl, we kind of need these precious few months to really recharge. I mean, we really don't even have that, because as soon as the Super Bowl is done, everybody's waiting for the draft, which is almost a month and a half or so later.
Combine happens in March.
Yeah, the combine is right after that, and then the draft is shortly after that. We're already talking about rookie OTAs now.
And you're only talking football,
Right.
In March, spring training, baseball going on. So there's a lot of other things, which we had that discussion last night on the round table.
There's always something.
I know, and I hate to always bring it up because, my two dedicated listeners to both shows, but quickly, we brought up what's the best month for sporting events. As far as high end, top sporting events.
April.
April. I love that you just throw that out there. Did you think it through whatsoever?
Didn't have.
All right. Okay. But here's my point. I think you just answered it the same way everyone last night did. They all answered it based on what they like and what their sport is. My point is, like it or not, I think based on what I did, me, the research I did.
Yes. None.
I don't think nothing, and no month really comes close to May. May, we have the Indy 500. We have the Coca-Cola 600. We have a Kentucky Derby. We have a Preakness. We have hockey playoffs. We have NBA playoffs. We have a major golf tournament. We have baseball is going into its second month. We have the NBA is going into its championship in its tournaments. I think, and the I had it last night. The Grand Prix racing, they have their biggest race happens, which I'm not sure if it's Italy. It's one of the the Grand Prix of Monaco. I think now I think about it, I think it's Monaco. Meaning a lot of those I named are huge events worldwide. Period. If you like the sport or not, and that's my point. It's hard to compete with those in a lot of other months. There's other months that have Super Bowls. There's months that have World Series. There's months that have college championships. Now, you threw out April right away. What major event is there in April?
The NFL draft.
Okay.
You've got basketball playoffs. You've got hockey playoffs. I mean, there was a golf. I mean, the Masters was in April.
All those you named also are in May in some way or another. If anything, the only thing that is not in May
is football.
Technically is football. Yeah. And I get it. As a football guy, and I'm a football guy too, as a football guy, that makes it seem hard to say May because there's no football. But at the same time, that question isn't what month do you enjoy the most or whatever. My question is what month has the most top sporting events? And again,
nobody cares about NASCAR.
You say that, but that's not true.
I think it is.
The Indy 500 is one of the top auto races around the world. The Monaco Grand Prix is also one. We also have the Premier Soccer League championships are in May.
Oh, that's good. That's a good point.
So I'm just saying.
I can see the argument. I can see the argument.
There's a bunch of them out there, and the hockey play. The thing about the NBA and the hockey playoffs between now and April is now we're in the finals of the divisions.
Right.
I get it. Most of them will roll over. And actually, now I think about it, both have a chance of being in May. Now I think about it. The finals for hockey and the finals in the NBA, I think, start in May. They may not end in May, but they end, if they would happen to end in May, now you're crowning champions of the major sports also, including the Premier League. So I'm just saying it's a pretty big month, for sporting events, including, like I said, a golf major. And again, I know I don't know what you call it. I mean, the Sunday before Memorial Day, if you're an auto racing fan, which I used to be, now I'm just a fan. But my wife knows that day I watched auto racing from 7 a.m. till midnight because the Grand Prix of Monaco comes on at like 8 o'clock, but the pre stuff comes on at 7. By the time it ends, there's about an hour before the pregame for the 500, Indy 500 come on. The Indy 500 goes, then there's about an hour or so break, and the Coca-Cola 600. Now, the Coca-Cola 600 is one of the top races in NASCAR, and it's the only 600-mile race of any of the major, I mean, even they only have one 600-mile race, and that's that day. So if I'm not even a fan where I have to watch every week of NASCAR or Indy or whatever, but I will watch those 3 events because those are all 3 major events, and it makes that day a major day, and I enjoy that. I like to say, I was a part of that. It's like watching the Kentucky Derby. You don't have to be a horse. I don't have to be a horse fan or horse race fan to not know the importance of this race, including, which we didn't even talk about because we talked about that last night also. I mean, talk about a major sporting event that went through a pretty unique finish.
Yes.
I'm not sure I've missed many Kentucky Derbies since I've been alive. And obviously it's never happened. So it's definitely didn't happen in my lifetime. So, pretty unique. I mean, I don't know what's the closest in football we've had to where call on the very last play or the game finished and we thought someone had won, but no, it wasn't either over or they declared someone else a winner. I mean, it really doesn't even happen in most sports.
Yeah. The closest is, and it's not even really all that analogous, would be the Tommy Lee Lewis pass interference non-call between the Saints and the Rams. That's the only thing that really comes to mind as something that completely changed the way the game ended.
That wasn't even the last play of the game, and
that's what I'm saying. It wasn't how, but it basically finished the game though.
Right. I mean, I've seen plays finish games. I mean, the interception. When the Seahawks were at the end zone. And that was the interception. All that, but that wasn't a call by an official. It wasn't like that happened. Or let's say. How would that even be? Let's say that happened and they're celebrating on the field, the confetti's going off, and then wait a minute. There's someone in the corner that is reviewing this. Wait a minute, it was not an interception. The ball, what I'm saying? And I mean, literally that would be the play it would have happened. That's the kind of play it could have happened on.
Right.
Where, now the problem is the way the NFL's working, they could not have given Seattle the touchdown. They would have still had to. That's the difference in this call. They literally, could you imagine that? Where they would go, well, you know what? Seattle, you don't get the score. You don't get the stop. And not only that, we're going to assume if this hadn't happened that they would have scored. So we're going to just let New England be the winners. People would be livid, like this. It's a 2-minute horse race. Line them back up, do it again. It's like do-over. So pretty unique thing there at the end. So, all right, let's get on to our major and this must be important because we're starting way early on our major topic of the night.
We're right on.
Because it came to my attention, somebody who wants to start a league. Now, this league we want to start with, I use the word industry people, but it's not really the case. This is a league where we're going to have fantasy players involved. This isn't a mom Paul league. This isn't a family and friends. But at the same time, when I'm talking the perfect league settings, though, I think those should almost be the same. Meaning, if it's perfect enough for the home league, shouldn't it be perfect enough for the experts? Meaning, if you do it right. So I want to start first, and I sat down. Chris, I swear I had a pen. Though I'll have to go back and watch our recording when I write this. The first question I have for what's important to have the perfect league in fantasy, I think right off the bat is you have to decide what is the perfect number of teams. I think that's a major decision right off the bat. If you're going to have the perfect league, you can't have the perfect league, in my opinion, without having the perfect number of teams involved.
12.
And I kind of knew you were going to say 12 because I think all of us think 12 is the right number. And I'm guessing I won't persuade you. But I'm going to go the opposite of what maybe you would think and what I hear other experts say. Other experts say 14 because you're getting into a player pool that's much deeper. And if you're a good player, you should know these people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go the other way and say a 10-team league, especially with knowledgeable players, I think it should be the opposite, where there's so many good players. I have a lot more close decisions to make every week. So I think a 10-player league puts more emphasis on this weekend, who's playing who, what's the weather, what's this. It's no longer you just start your studs because you have more studs. So where in it, and I get it, 12 teams still might be the right thing. Where to me, when people bring that up with a 14, or even I hear of crazy people doing 16-team leagues, the decision isn't that hard if I'm playing the guy I picked in the, last round or two versus, I pick, earlier. But in a 10-team league, you're going to pick people late in the draft that would start in 12 and 14-team leagues. So these are decisions now on a Sunday where the weather has changed or things are happening where, I don't know. I see the 12 because I think that's the right number for the perfect rosters and the right number of players being drafted. Enough good players and enough questionable players. But wouldn't 10-team league with smart players, wouldn't that put more emphasis on decision making every week of the season?
But you're making a big assumption there that all the players in your league are smart players, and that removes that basically makes casual players not want to play then.
Okay. And I get that. And that's what I'm saying. I do believe 12 is the number, but I at least wanted to throw my opinion. So
I don't disagree.
So
if you have 10 sharp people, then putting them into a league together, I think, is completely fair.
Okay. Okay. Fair, or do you think there is a little more emphasis on decision making if it is just if there is 12 player?
No. I've been in leagues with 8 people in them, and the roster decisions are very tough because everybody has, really good teams. So if you're having to make some of your lineup decisions, I wholeheartedly agree that it becomes more difficult. The edges are they're much sharper. They're much slimmer for you because the roster construction and the players that you have to choose between. So yeah, I agree that once you have smaller amounts of people, the player pool, while you might have just all these great wide receiver ones, RB ones, the great tight ends, and all that, everybody has them. So you really do have to pay attention and make sure that you have just the best lineup every single week.
I hate to change the topic real quick, but in the chat room, Kim did bring up, and Kim, I think I remember the Olympic basketball game in the 70s or 72. I think they actually, after the game or at the end of the game, changed who the winner was, because I think they came on and said that a basket didn't count at the end. I think that was like USA and Russia, too, if I'm not mistaken. I just hated not to say that since we brought it up and then they brought it up in the chat room. So that's true. And yes, there's something out here, Miami versus Ohio State football. I'm not sure what he's actually bringing up there, but so maybe there were a few major sporting events that were changed other than that. All right. So I think we would agree that 12 is the right number for the perfect league, is, meaning it could sway either way, a home league, or, if you have 12 educated or
even a mix.
Huh?
Just a mix of casual people, sharp.
That would be okay. So there we go. Let's write down 12. I go back and play this. I will write it down. So let's say if we go with 12. See, that's my next question. If we're going to make this the perfect league, does a mix work? Meaning, to make it a perfect league, do you either need 10 or 12 experts, or do you need 10 or 12 home league type players? And I'm even going to give the home league quality players a bump above, because I consider myself a home player actually, but you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to make the perfect league, doesn't the league need to be kind of a little tighter as far as the skill level fairly equal?
No, I don't think so, because when it comes to the number of the people playing in the league, it's not going to be, at least my assumption is that when it comes to home leagues, they're not as active as let's say a dynasty league or something like that, where people are constantly evaluating player value and things of that nature. So it's not like you're trading every week.
You've probably already been in leagues where there's 8 really competitive guys, 2 so-so guys, 2 guys that don't know anything, and those 2 guys that don't know anything can ruin the league. So you can't have a perfect league if you have those 2 people in there that just do stupid stuff.
No, I think that's what makes the perfect league. It's the chaos, because that is the NFL. I mean, that's essentially how the league works. You have the terrible teams that do stupid things, and you've got the really good teams that operate perfectly. I mean, I think leagues are like home leagues like that, where you have that mix of casuals, sharps, and the people that don't know anything. They mirror how the NFL works.
Well, and as somebody who knows a little more than some of the other players, unfortunately, you factor those things in. You have to go, okay, we got 2 people who don't really know what they're doing. So I have to watch these trades could go down, or the league could change immediately, or my team's great right now, and then one stupid trade by the idiot screws everything up.
Right.
Now my team doesn't look as dominant as it did before the stupid trade.
Absolutely.
So, it does throw something out there. So you're saying that perfect league rules, 12 teams, and a mixture of players is it. Now, if we were doing a league with all industry people or a league with all home, I still think 12 is the number. But okay, we'll go there. So you think there needs to be a mix. Now, do you think it needs to be 50-50, like 50 people, half the 6 are really, really good players and 6 are bad players? Or you think it needs to be more of you do need that 8 or 9 hardcores? I mean, it's hard to be a perfect league if half the league doesn't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, I would say at least half would have to be, and I'm not talking about they need to be sharps or anything like that. People that are on Twitter every day or write for websites or any of that stuff. I would say at least casuals. People that watch football on, let's say, at least Sunday night. So they watch a game per week. Maybe listen to a podcast here or there, or know somebody that does and like to talk about football and just genuinely enjoy watching the game of football. And that's why they do fantasy football. So if you have folks like that will be 1, setting lineups every week, and 2, active on the waiver wire, so the league is actually doing some things, maybe toss out a trade every few weeks or something like that. I mean, that's what you want out of your league. I would say that any league that just drafts their team and sets their lineup every week, that's not really the perfect league, at least not for me. Right. I would like to see people interacting with each other, the smack talk. I mean, all of that. So you need some people like that in your league.
Well, I can tell this perfect league thing's going to require probably another. We might have to come back and finish this next week.
Some deep discussion.
Yeah, because we've already gotten more into it than I thought we would. But the third thing would be maybe, does the site that you decide to play on factor in to making the perfect league?
Yes.
Meaning, can it be the perfect league and you play it with stats from USA Today's paper? Or to be a perfect league, does it need to be on one of the top sites? Does it have to be, on the ESPN? Does it have to be on Yahoo?
Yes.
So you're saying that, or is it more important that in the perfect league that you get the settings you want? So you might have to go to you might have to use a service that you might not want to, but it's more important to play by these rules and these settings. So to do that, we can't, and I've learned that, there's some settings you just can't do and then be on ESPN, if we decide, and that's what I'm saying, that's why I think we might have to come back next week and finish this, because I think I'm in my head after I say this, I don't think you can decide. I think it's important what site you play on. But when I started saying that to you, though, I really quickly think if we're going to make the perfect league, the rules and the league settings to me are more important than where I play at. So if we decide that these are the best rules and these are the best settings, we might not be able to say that this site would work for us or not. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And I guess my only counter to that is now I'm thinking about everybody in the entire league. So not just the casuals, but also talking about the people that don't know how to do anything. So if you want to make sure that they're also staying engaged, you want to make this as simplistic as possible. So that's where the Yahoos and the ESPNs, the folks that have like the nice shiny apps where the only thing that they really need is this right here in order to get access to their team, start making moves and all that. Because the other websites, if it becomes a little bit clunky, they have to log in to some website, doesn't have an app and all that, then you're losing a potential trade partner. You're losing a potential, person that would be active in the league. So that's where having the right site, it does make a difference.
Right. I mean, I know there's a lot of sites out there, but I do this enough to know that people would call the three majors are Yahoo, CBS, and ESPN.
Absolutely.
So those are the three majors. And unfortunately, ESPN is probably the most popular of those three, but they also have the least amount of adjustments you can make.
Right.
Not that you can't, and there's not a lot of them. It's just they have a lot less adjustments than.
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
You do? As a commissioner, they have pay. I didn't even know that.
No, if you want the flexibility, I mean, just their standard default stuff, yeah, that's all free. But if you want all the wacky stuff, you can pay for some of the customization.
It's not new to me. I've never commissioned but one league, the league that I do here local that you played with me. I did not know there was a pay option for commissioners.
Yeah.
Get out of town.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Come on. You're not just you're not pulling my leg here. So ESPN has options that you can get more in depth. And
as far as I know, I haven't done it myself, but I've seen the customization of the option for you to have to pay for stuff.
Have to look into that. I did not know that was an option. So
I'm pretty sure.
In the chat room, I'd be curious if anybody in the chat room, and unfortunately I shut down my chat room trying to do something else. I have a little chat room running on my cell phone, so I can see, excuse me, I can see questions. But
it doesn't run as deep as like My Fantasy League, MFL. Like they have just
somewhere you can just do anything.
Oh yeah.
Even Fantrax has a lot more options in some
absolutely
of their than even though I don't like the sites. So we might have to revisit this topic after we decide what's important rules wise. But again, you've taken this obviously a little more direction than I thought we would, which is if it's going to be the perfect league, it needs to be perfect for everybody, including beginners, versus my idea of the perfect league is maybe a little more towards perfect for people who have played before, and all that. So we might even distinguish between the two. Next week, we might have to just do the whole hour. Other than we're probably going to have to do, a half hour on Tiger Woods winning, we can't, Tiger Woods wins back-to-back majors. We're going to have to talk about that.
That's we won't start the real show until 10:40 again anyway.
We will have to, but if not, I think this is I thought we'd blow by this in 10 or 15 minutes and come up with come
on.
You're right, because me, I don't let you just give simple answers. I have to, because I always think, and that's the point about fantasy. That's what makes fantasy fun is there's a lot of options. So the site we play on, I agree. I do agree. If you're going to make the perfect league available to everybody, which technically the perfect league would have to be, then it would need to be on three of the majors. But at the same time, I think we're going to put a little check mark here that we think it should be, but we need to make sure that these three sites will fit into the settings and the rules that we think are important. Right now we're up to 12. We need 12 players, and we need a mixture of skill levels in that league, so that everyone has to deal with a few, few things. That way, we're pretty convinced that we're going to have to play on one of the major sites. So to me, those are three pretty important things you're going to have to decide right off the bat.
Right.
I think maybe we have enough time to get into a fourth thing. So then to me, the fourth thing becomes the financial part.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this is where maybe we start separating the beginner from the non-beginner.
$10.
See, I don't even think that's close.
Come on.
If it's going to be the perfect league, I think you have to have more skin in the game. I won't let you do 10. I personally believe, and obviously everyone has different financial things. So, you know what? If you're a lot richer than me and Chris, when me and Chris say 10, maybe in your head you're thinking that's equal to your hundreds. I'm accepting that, and 10 can be rich for me. If I'm in a $10 league, I'm paying attention, because that means you got a shot at winning $100 probably, and that's pretty big. But I know there's people out there that $10 they're not getting up for it. You know, they're not. You know,
I wish I was that rich.
Okay. So, but in the perfect league, I feel the skin has to be enough where everyone's going to pay attention. And I would think in a normal home league, I'm going to say that's in the $40 or $50 area, in my opinion. And I think budget wise, I'm similar to most Midwest people, you know, that work a normal job. Again, if you're a lawyer or judge, put another 0 on the end of that. You know, you might be going, you know, well, you know, I've known people that play fantasy for $1,000. You know, I mean, I'm not there yet, but I know people who do.
I don't think I'll ever be there.
So to those people, you know, that makes it a little hard. You know, just add a 0 to our numbers. I think at a minimum, it needs to be in that $40 or $50 range. Kevin is saying $50 in his opinion. Now, Kevin's a Hawaii guy. So, I mean, Hawaii's $50 like a nickel, right? Isn't like $50 a nickel in Hawaii?
I know. I think $50 is $50 in Hawaii.
No way.
I'm pretty sure.
So I'm going to say at least 40 or 50 to be a perfect league. And I could be convinced, especially if you're going to play with industry / knowledgeable players, you might need to get to the $80 or $100. And I don't want our budgets to necessarily, you know, you and your mind might go, I would never play a $100 league. And I get that. I'm in $200 baseball leagues and I suck at baseball, but I'm in them because, you know, I want to test my skills. I mean, it's like playing at a poker table that you know you shouldn't get in, but you do anyway. And you play a little different, you know, when you're at a poker table that's above your budget.
Oh, you know, as soon as you sit down.
You do. And then all of a sudden you realize, and I've been there, you know, I've done the poker a lot. I mean, I've been there where I go, you know, in my $2 game, I would just call this. But in $10, $20 game, this is a 10 times the decision that I normally have to make. It's much harder. So that's my point, though. I think the dollar amount needs to be high enough that people pay attention, and then it's enough money that they want to win the $1,000 or they want to win the 500. You know, and that's what, right. Doug's even saying, you know, in small dollar leagues, the payouts are too small. And that's also the point. You know, if it's a $10 league and you're paying for 100, I get it. I'm like you, $100 tomorrow is better than no money at all. But you know what? I mean, getting paid $1,400 or $1,200 in one league sure covers for a lot of the $10 and $20 leagues I played in. So that's my thing. I'm a Midwest guy. Wife's job allows me to pretend to be Hawaiian. Okay, I like that, Kevin. Like I said, Doug didn't put a dollar amount out there. Kevin said 50. And again, I don't want the number to be specific. I guess what I'm saying is, does the number need to be a number enough that a majority of the players in the league are pressured? Let's maybe word it that way. Meaning, does the dollar amount to get into the league need to put pressure on you as a player?
I don't think because once you've paid that money, and once you've paid your dues, that's a sunk cost, and it's just a gamble more or less in order for you to win it. So it's entirely possible that even if you paid, let's say, $1,000 to get into the league, after week 5, week 6, if you're 2-4, what's the point?
Well,
You're out $1,000 here, you're out $10. I mean, I don't think anybody's really going to sit there and think that their chances are so great that they could get back into it. Of course, it's entirely possible.
Well, and do you still try a little more at that point, hoping, hey, I got to make some crazy moves because I'm trying to at least make the playoffs.
But you could do the same if you were just had $10 in the game. I don't think that really changes things, at least not for me.
And me neither. But I know a lot of people that, you're right, the money doesn't even matter at all once they pay it.
Yeah.
Here's my next reasoning about a little bit higher of a payout or a higher buy-in is I've had this feeling, even though I can never convince anybody, which must mean I'm probably right. I'm a person who I would like the idea of a bigger pay-in or buy-in and then some weekly payouts.
That's good.
Something you can't do with smaller buy-ins.
Yep.
But if like your scenario you just said, I'm 4-2 in week 6, but I might not make the playoffs, but if I go on a run for 5 weeks, I might win half my money back. And now instead of being bought in for 100, I at least get 50 back. Because there was some $10 payouts every week for maybe top scorer or
that's a league setting I can get behind.
So is that part of the meaning? Do we have to we're going to have to maybe sit down with, and this could be a whole month series here because I like that idea. I like that there's always something on the line every week, and what that is, we'll maybe dive into when we continue this topic. And should it be a moving target every week? Should it be a set target every week? And when I say that, meaning, do you just give a payout to the guy who scores the most points? Or do you do something random and say, whoever kicker gets the most points this way wins $20? I mean, so that now everyone has a chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? There's a difference there. I mean, if my team sucks, the odds of me still winning most points every week is going to be a struggle, but random pay out the guy with the kicker with the most points, I'm all about that.
Sure.
Because now it's there's a little gamble. I mean, there's not really a gamble to it, but it's a reason to continue playing and setting my lineup. And believe it or not, kicker's one of those, when people are out of it, their kicker spot can be empty for 4 weeks. But I'm guessing if it's not, because their kicker gets hurt, their kicker gets hurt in week 6 and they haven't won a game or only won one game and they never even replace him.
Well, people are removing kickers from the leagues nowadays.
If the payout was, hey, you know what, every week whoever's kicker scores the most is going to get so many points or so many dollars. So you put in 100, but technically, let's say 50 of it goes to the end game, the Super Bowl winner. Everyone else's, that other 50 goes in for these weekly prizes / payouts. So I and unfortunately, like I said, I'm kind of Doug wrote Cam. The only thing that makes the perfect league is a league where everyone has similar skill set, which is kind of what I said. Chris is thinking you need a little bit of a combination. My main league has a 5,000-ish first place, and people don't pay attention by Memorial Day. So he's talking baseball. A $5,000 payout. I don't know how big a league that is. Now in baseball, you can have pretty big leagues.
That's pretty big.
$5,000 payout's a pretty big payout. Obviously, I would pay attention, but I pay attention in free leagues. That's the problem. I'm not.
That's huge.
Well, because I always feel even if it's a free league, if I'm gonna, get in. Hey, Kevin, thanks for coming out. Kevin's leaving in Hawaii. It must be, lunchtime. I don't even know what time it is in Hawaii, but it could be lunchtime.
Are they 3 hours?
3, I think it's almost 8 hours, maybe with the time change, 7 hours. Oh yeah. California is 3 hours time
Also
change.
in Hawaii, maybe an 8
Hawaii,
hour.
I'm almost positive Hawaii is 7-ish hours difference. Kevin should know if he didn't leave already. He lives there. So, so you think maybe do you like that? Where if you're going to have the perfect league, let's do a little higher buy-in, but let's split that buy-in between an end game payout for the Super Bowl winner, but then let's come up with some weekly prizes / payouts to keep people interested.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So there's
Behind
still that even if you're in the situation that you're 2-4 and completely like have no shot at getting to the playoffs, most likely, but either way, there's still a chance for you to get some of your money back. I like that.
Okay. So, and to be honest, I even like the idea that the weekly payout could be different every week. And that would be random, and that before Thursday's game, your league runs. Let's say Monday's game ends, and Tuesday morning you spin a spinner, and it comes up and says this week's payout is top scorer. This week's payout is to the top kicker. This week's payout is to the best defense. This payout is to the top bench. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
we didn't want to league where it was like whoever had like the biggest beat down. So like if a team won like 190 to 80 or something like that,
the guy who scored 80 would win, right? He'd win a payout.
Yeah. It's like the bad luck award.
Right. So that would be my point. Would you be interested in something where that changes every week?
Absolutely.
But before the week starts, you wouldn't know. I don't think it'd be one of those things where you'd want to go into the season knowing what every week's payout was.
No, you have to change it so people don't try and game the system.
I think like Tuesday morning, Tuesday or Wednesday morning before or after, you'd have to decide before or after waivers run. We're going to run some number generator, and we have a list of 16 payouts, and we're going to 1 through 16. If that's what it lands on, that's what we do. And once that one's paid out, we take it off.
I like it.
And again, I think that would be fun. You'd come up with 16, not 16, what the league, I think you'd have to do this up to the last week, which is 13. So you'd have to have 13 payouts.
Yeah.
So you'd have to divide the payout that way. So obviously you could win 3 of those and get at least maybe, I don't know how it would work, 3 or 5 over 13 and maybe not make the playoffs, but you at least got half your buy-in back, that type thing. So, well, we came up with very little on the perfect league.
We got a few things.
But I do like the idea that we're taking this serious, guys. You know what? I mean, we could have quickly said, the best league's going to be half-point PPR, two QBs, 1 tight end, a flex. No, that's not my I want to get into the whole league. So maybe this is going to be a series. This part 1. This was part 1 of building the perfect league, and technically what we've come up with is 12 teams.
Yep.
Maybe 10 if you do 10 experts. And then
we 10 people of all similar experience level.
Well, but I guess even that I disagree with a little bit, because to me the 10 requires, if you really know what you're doing, those people are going to have more pressure on them. Then the random guy still might not know the difference between why do I want to play? I don't care. I'm with this tight end instead of that tight end. It's a league, so I got a lot of tight ends. But then you look at the weather and realize, but it is storming like a mother in Washington this week, so I can't play that guy. So you might play this other guy, where a random player might not even know that to pay attention to that. So. I'd like to be in the other side. Reward for the highest score in a loss or the best record not in the playoffs. See, to me, those are payouts for season. We're talking a payout weekly. And Doug, that could be one of the payouts for a week. Out of the 13 payouts, one of those could be highest score. Highest scorer this week wins money. Lowest scorer this week wins money. Biggest differential would win money. Meaning, he might not have been the lowest score, but he got beat by, what I'm saying? You could come up with 13 different things. So, we'll look at that. So, all right, next week we'll dive into this a little bit more. And we will, like I said, 12 teams, probably need to play on one of the major sites. And we kind of think the payout needs to be at least a little bit of pressure on the player, and maybe we do weekly payouts. So that'll give us something to work on. And then obviously, once we do that, now we're talking. To me, I think league settings come next, and then scoring. Because to me, the scoring doesn't matter until you know what the settings are. So we need to decide. That is when we're doing PPRs, how many players, how many running backs versus whatever. So we'll get into that next week. So thanks for joining us tonight on our first of a series of how to set up the perfect league for fantasy football. Chris, where can people find you, and what do you got going on out there?
You can find me on Twitter at Chris Allen FFWX. Taking a couple of weeks off. But I do have a couple of pieces coming out here at the end of this month. Doing like a Kyler Murray rookie profile for 4for4. Got some stuff for Sports Illustrated coming out in June. So that content's coming on the way. It'll be here soon.
We are definitely building up. And that's why I wanted to start this league thing now, because if you're looking to start a good league, you need to start doing it now. You need to fix it up and start inviting people. Because I'm going to be that way this year. Once I'm going to get a number in my head of a couple of leagues. And I'm going to do this a little different this year. I'm going to do leagues and budget. And once I hit one or the other, I'm going to be done. So obviously the better the leagues and the better options I have earlier, the more likely I'll be in those leagues. So now, real quickly, right. He put in there that lowest score people bet idea. That's why, to me, you don't draw that's the option until somewhere later in the week. That's why you don't know what the payout's going to be. Maybe until lineup set, meaning, Sunday morning, maybe it could even be Sunday morning. You're only talking Thursday game. That shouldn't affect anything really.
Hopefully.
If you just said, hey, Sunday morning, we're going to spin the spinner, so that you can't. But again, we're talking small amounts of payout. This isn't like you're going to win all your money back in 1 week. These are small amounts. You still would want to win. And so you're 0-6. Might you throw a week to win $10? Whatever. Right. A commissioner said, no, it doesn't work that way. You need to set your lineup, meaning it needs to be the lowest score with a real lineup set.
Right. If you have Mike Evans and you left him on your bench that week to try and make some money back, I mean, come on now.
But okay, we'll discuss it. Maybe we decide, no, that is a dumb top. Out of the 13, we have better options. Let's don't do it.
Some better ones.
You know what? So, we'll have to sit down and see what we can even come with of what.
That's why this is now a series.
It is now a series because again, it might take us a while to come up with the 13 best weekly payouts that you could have. So we'll have fun with it. I'm EZkill. You can just find me at a fantasy fan on Twitter. Questions, comments. Other than that, fantasyfan.com brings you to the website, brings you to Lenny Melnick's site, the Legend Sports Network. Lenny and Andrea, thanks for having us on. Chris, we'll be back next Wednesday
with a green screen.
With green screen. Well, you had a green screen tonight.
There are two green scenes.
Okay, right. But we don't want them to know it's a green screen. We want them to think I'm right now at Washington, D.C., sitting in the stadium.
Right.
Doug, Kevin, I know Andrea was there earlier. Cam was out there a little bit. So we had some chat room activity. Thanks for coming out. Guys, we appreciate it. Chris, say goodnight.
This has been Just a Fantasy Fan Podcast. And to keep your fantasies going, follow us at justthefantasyfan.com. Say good night. Good night.
Woo.
I'm kind of out.
Kind of.
Yeah, my machine did not lock up this time. Could you hear the static or see every once in a while where I was like,
I'm getting feedback. I can hear myself.
See, I just hear static.
Maybe
You think it was you? Unfortunately, I've had that similar thing. That static is what has happened a few times before it actually locked up. That's why I thought maybe it was me.
Well,
Even though I changed the camera, I did not get now. And maybe that was, the first thing I was trying to fix was, how my camera would just go fuzzy at one point.
yeah.
See, I think that fixed with the new camera. I think that was a camera issue because I had multiple people say the camera I had and OBS, there was something to do with the USB driver that would cause that. So that didn't happen. I still personally think that I'm having an issue with, actually just this machine. Unfortunately, I took a machine that I need to erase this machine. You know what I'm saying? And make it, and I only use it for podcasting now. I just need to erase all the old crap off of it and make it probably if it was just only being used for streaming, which is what it's being used for, but there's still a million other programs on it.
No, you need to do that. I can do that.
You know what I'm saying? Just probably
Just wipe it down and reinstall the operating system on it. Yeah.
I think that would help. The problem is I have settings in the software and stuff. Now it's not stuff I can't do. Probably better than if I unplug my mixer a million times again.
Yeah,
but
probably.
I might have to just zap that hard drive, reinstall Windows 10, and see. I actually have a new machine sitting here that I got where I'm trying to run Linux because a lot of people say Linux is better for streaming because it's a much cleaner operating system. It isn't as foggy and all that. The problem is, and it will run StreamYard, and it will technically run OBS, except the machine I got, Joe buys these at auctions. It's actually an i5. It's a powerful machine, but it doesn't have a powerful enough video card that OBS supports. So I'm like, shoot. So I was hoping to get this machine running on Linux and make it my podcasting machine.
Right.
See, I turned off Spreaker and the static went away, or unless you did something on your end. So maybe it was the Spreaker because it has been working fine. But what do you want to try to do? At this point, I think if I was you, because I think I did it, my screen just paused. I think we both need to reboot our computers, and then I will email you a new link.
Okay.
And we'll get back on. I'm trying to think of the best way to do that. Maybe even in Hangouts instead of this, because I think in Hangouts I can share screen and you can share screen back and forth, maybe a little easier.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to reboot my machine because I think you're going to need to reboot your machine so that because until the camera is seen in OBS, then we can't do it anyway.
Right.
And then once you do that, you can always open up StreamYard again and click that. But trust me, I do this. If you get OBS working right, you don't need to even test. I mean, you'll know those two black screens when they come up. The one is that you work on. Once everything's working in that screen, you just hit the publish button or the transfer button, and then that's what the camera sees.
Okay.
So, that's what's nice. That's why it's a studio. That one box is where you can everything you do in this box, nobody sees.
Right.
They only see it when it moves over to the box on the right.
Yeah.
So. That's the easiest way to tell. I mean, once it looks right on this screen and you hit send it out, it should look right in that, on that other screen and you're done. And then it's just a matter of making sure that StreamYard or any software, then, even Hangouts, you can say use, as long as OBS is running, say use the OBS camera. That's what you do. I mean, so you can use a green screen in any software. So I'm going to reboot. I'll send you a link here. Give me about 5 minutes, probably. I don't know. How long does it take your machine to reboot?
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
All right. I'll shoot you a link.
Okay. Oh, update and restart.